Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the words of the Chometz in the Sefer HaMitzvos HaKatzar. Yesterday we began Chelik Sheni, which is the second portion of this Sefer of the book, which is the Mitzvahs Loisaseh, the negative commandments. And today, Ba'ashkacha, we're starting a few halachas over here that are very pertinent to the period of time that we're in right now. Chazal tell us that Shloishim Yom Koydem HaChag, 30 days before a festival, a person must begin to look into, be dorish, they must look into and learn the laws of the festival that is coming up. Because if you don't know the halachas, you don't know the laws of that particular festival, you don't understand the ideas and the messages behind that Yom Tiv, so then when the Yom Tiv comes, you will not be prepared halachically. You won't be prepared to fulfill the mitzvahs in the proper way, and you certainly will not walk away with the greatest chizuk, the greatest inspiration that you could from the glorious Yom Tov that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given over to Klal Yisrael. The Yom Tov that perhaps has the most mitzvahs throughout the year is the Yom Tov of Pesach. Even by the Seder itself, the Vilna Gaon, I believe, makes a calculation that there are no less than 83 or 84 mitzvahs that a person fulfills on the night of the Seder alone by the table. Which means that if a person lives in Chutz La'aretz, they live outside the land of Eretz Yisrael, there's 2 Sedarim, you're getting over 160 mitzvahs just on the first 2 nights of the Seder. Now, what about all the preparation that is needed in order to be prepared for Pesach? For example, how do you kasher your kitchen so that your kitchen is kosher to Pesach? How do you know what foods you are allowed to eat, what you're not allowed to eat? What about the laws of selling one's Chometz? What are you allowed to own, what you're not allowed to own? Where do you place it? Do you have to lock it up? Do you have to seal it up? Are there certain things that we do get rid of? There are many. How about all of the kashering of the utensils? Not everybody could afford to go and buy a whole new set of dishes and a whole new set of silverware and a whole new set of pots and pans for Pesach. Many of us are kashering our utensils from the year that we use when it's all around Chometz, around the leavened bread, as we will see. And we kasher them to make them kosher to Pesach. So that means that you can now put your matzah and your non-leavened things on there, and it's not considered treif. There's numerous, hundreds and hundreds of halachas that a person has to keep before Pesach, and even on Pesach itself, so many more. So how could you be prepared? The only way is Shloishim Yom Kodem Chag, 30 days before the festival, a person must make effort to learn the halachas the best that they possibly can. So with no coincidences in our lives, and certainly the ein mikra b'Torah, there's no coincidence in Torah and that which we learn. So as we are continuing now in the Sefer, the Chometz, and we just got to the section of the Mitzvahs Loisaseh, the negative commandments, we now have the next several halachas that we're going to learn over here are going to be revolving around the prohibitions of Chometz and of Pesach and how a Jew lives his life leading up to and on Pesach itself. So says the second halacha in this section, mitzvahs loisaseh, there's a negative commandment, shelo yira'eh chometz b'reshus Yisrael, you should not see any chometz, any leavened food in the possession of a Jew, kol shivas yimei Pesach, all of the 7 days of Pesach. Lo yera, you cannot even see, which means lo yera, you cannot see, you cannot find. There cannot be any chametz that's going to be lying around. Shenemar, like it says in the verse, v'lo yera lecha chametz. It says in the verse, you should not see any chametz in your possession. Shivas yomim, for 7 days. That means all of the days. It means the 7 days if you're in Eretz Yisrael, the 8 days, or however it will work out, the 9 days when you're in Chutz La'aretz. All of those days that of Pesach, you're not allowed to even see a drop of chametz in your house, which means obviously there's an enormous amount of preparation that takes place before the Yom Tov begins to make sure that you removed all of the chametz from your possession, so that on Pesach, chas v'chalila, God forbid, you should not find even 1 ounce, 1 crumb of chametz in your house, lest you be over, lest you transgress the prohibition of not seeing chametz in your house. And that, says the Chometz, that the pasuk itself says, it's brought down, matzahs yoichel es shivas hayomim, you should eat matzah for 7 days, v'lo yireh lecha chometz, and you will not see chometz. So it's 7 days that a person's going to be involved in matzah, he'll be involved in unleavened food, and the 7 days that you are there for Pesach, or as we said, 9 days in Chutz La'aretz, a person is not going to be seeing any chametz in their possession. This is something that applies everywhere, all of the time. Whether you're in Eretz Yisrael, whether you're in America, you must keep this halacha. Every year, Pesach, we keep this halacha. B'schar and nekevos, men and women are obligated in this as well. Children also were machmir that there's no chametz for them either, to make sure that there is no chametz in our possession. Now again, keep in mind, the only way that you cannot have chametz in your possession over Pesach is if you prepared properly your house to make sure that you did all the cleaning, you did all the scrubbing, you did all the koshering, you got rid of all of the products in your house that are chametz, so that on the night of what we call bedikas chametz, the night before Pesach, when we have to check our homes to see if there's any chametz around, we will find none, and if we do, we get rid of it, to make sure that we can go a whole Yom Tov of Pesach from beginning until the end without seeing any chametz in our possession. Have a wonderful day.